Alright, so I'll pause and I'll resume this, and we're talking about Google Cloud Platform, and then on the Earth Cam you can also see Toronto here on Earth Cam, CN Tower Cam, right? So, oh, why am I doing this? Okay, so maybe I'm bored to death or something like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to open our free trial here, Google Cloud Platform. And in the free trial, I'm going to go for, I'll just sign out from here because I don't know, a lot of stuff was going on here, and I was checking a lot of features here. So, well, first of all, we do create our own. If I go to I am an admin, we can create our that platform or project. Sorry, we can create our project, and then so we could delete it today as well, right? So last time we deleted the project, and that was good. Then we can just do whatever we want in the project for the given whatever time left from the 3 total months. So I'll go to this cloud platform. If we log in, there's the project area, and we can go ahead and create project here. Monsac says they are offering Azure Advanced Threat Protection Analysis. Oh, okay, ATP. Yeah, that is part of the Azure, but it's actually connected to Office 365. So yeah, but Microsoft Azure itself, the cloud, you can ask them that, hey, can you give me Microsoft Azure access for 1 year or 6 months? So okay, and so we see here now we can just quickly create a project here, right? So I've clicked on this left side here, and I'm gonna go for a new project. I'll click the new project here. We know the whole drill here, how to create a project. My project dash your first name dash 16Dec 2020. Okay, is it belonging to any organization? Yes, it belongs to this organization. And I'm gonna, so you just give a name to the project, and that's it, and go ahead and click create and 8. So I'm gonna click the create button. 4 to 30 characters. The name must be between 4 and 30 characters. I think that's too long. So I'll just go for today's date and remove this. And create. Maybe that's okay. Oh. So it's getting created now. And then when it gets created, you can just click the select project. So it's created now. And I'll just simply click the select project. So once you select the project, it appears here. Now once that is done, let's go ahead and go to navigation menu, and in the navigation menu, so we can just simply go for, so we can go down and down until we see here storage. This is the storage, right? So once we click the storage, so it shows that there is a bucket. You can create a bucket here. Remember from AWS also calls its folder where you can upload files and folders as bucket. So I'm going to click that create bucket here, and once we click that it create bucket, so then it asks for all kind of, so first of all the bucket name, it is global, so it has to be lowercase and it has to be globally unique, right? So what we can do is your first name dash 16Dec2020. Okay, and dash bucket 1. So any sensitive information, okay, don't include any, and it should be globally unique. And let's click the continue button. So it also says on the right side that there's enter values between enter values below to check the bucket's monthly cost for guidance only pricing details here. So when you create a bucket, obviously you should know the cost as well. If I click the pricing details here, so this document discusses pricing for cloud storage for Google Drive, which offers simple online storage for your personal files. And pricing overview, if you go down data storage 50 GB, I think I was looking for bucket. Your bill for the month for my bucket is calculated as follows. Data storage 50 GB standard storage is given when you create a bucket, and 0.02 cents per GB, or $1 cost for 50 GB. Network 1 GB egress outbound traffic or 0.12 cents. Operations 10,000 class A operations, 0.05 per 10,000 operations. Operations is what? You're creating a bucket, you're uploading a file, you're saving a file, you're changing a file, you're deleting a file. These are all operations, whatever you do in a storage, right? And 50,000 class B operations, 0.04. So they have defined the classes as well. And then pricing tables, and you can this is Iowa US Central they're talking about, but if I click that, oh, can't go inside. Why? So custom data, and it keeps on going. Data moves within the same location, free. East US 1 to East US 1 if you want to move the data, or EU to EU, it's free. Data moves from a cloud storage bucket located in a dual region to a different cloud service located in one of the regions that make up the dual region. So it is well, they're just saying that between if the data moves between different locations, then they start charging. But this is overall a good read for how the network and the cloud or the storage usage is. I just went for the bucket for now. So pricing for storage, pricing, okay, and GCP storage, so I'll just put GCP, so I'll just put it here, and okay, and I'll go back here. So what we need to do, we have clicked the bucket name here. So storage and retrieval, storage price size. What is the storage size for which there will be prices? If I just go to the right side and go for hey, I want like 100 GB, right? And this is data retrieval size. It's free, but data retrieval would be 10 GB suppose, and class A operations per month. So this is all the prices that they come out. SLA is this, monthly cost is $2. It's in US dollars, or you can change it to Canadian dollars as well. Monthly cost estimate for what you class A operations per month, 0.005, and B operations. So we're going to talk about that, but let's just click the continue on the left side. Once you click the continue, so there's a location type. This permanent choice defines the geographic placement of your data and affects cost, performance, and availability. So location, region, so lowest latency within a single region, or dual region, high availability and low latency across two regions. So this is the regions. Dual regions are that they are preferably nearby, comparatively nearby regions. So suppose it's East US 1, East US 2, or East US 1 and West US. So East US and West US are still in one continent, and while East US one and East Europe one would be quite far, right? So a dual region could be, when you say low latency, so obviously this means that you're into more cross-region replication of data, but you want the regions to be nearby and not very far off in different continents, or multi-region, and that is highest availability across largest area. So East US one and West Europe one, suppose. So that's across the globe. So first of all, let's just go to the region here. Later we'll see that how to, suppose we want to upgrade. Actually, it says this permanent choice defines the geographic placement of your data and affects cost performance. So this seems like a permanent choice. So we can go for multi-region as well, and US multiple regions in United States. If you suppose select multi-regions, if I select the dual region, so it says Iowa and South Carolina. So Iowa and South Carolina. Now this is a combination, and there is Netherlands and Finland in Europe for, and Asia is Tokyo and Osaka. So they're pretty much one country, right? Osaka is also in Japan, I think. So Netherlands and Finland are nearby. Iowa and South Carolina, two states in one country. So that's really nearby, dual region. So multi-region, it's going to be then multiple regions in the United States, and EU, multiple regions in European Union or Asia, multiple regions in Asia. So so multi-region is like GRS in Azure. Good. So that would be exactly GRS in Azure. So what was with GRS? Geographic Resource Section? What was the abbreviation of GRS? Geographic Geo-redundant storage. Exactly. There you go. So yeah, exactly. If it's global, and you can choose whichever. In fact, the dual region would be the RAGRS there, right? So normally when you select RAGRS, they also select low latency as well. But no, even RAGRS can be on. Well, RAGRS, and there was GZRS, RAGZRS. When there was GZRS, that means you're nearby. When it's just GRS, yes, that's multi-region. That's but you can see here one more thing. You can choose regions within nearby this continent. So within United States, you can choose regions, multiple regions in European Union only. So that's not entirely like East US and East Europe, right? We still cannot make that choice. They are making the choice for us. Oh, you want to go further? You want to stay just within United States? There are so many data centers there, and you want to just stay in Europe, and you want to just stay in Asia. So there are so many data centers far away, but it's not cross continent still. What they are offering here, right? And okay, so if we go for single region, normally it's not supposed to be. Well, other cloud providers, they don't go for permanent change. We can upgrade from LRS to GRS as well, right? But here they're saying it's permanent, so that's why we're going multi-region for now. Okay, so Chetan says how many copy it will create in multi-region? 2. Yeah, so normally it's just 2 regions, so 1 copy in one region, other copy in other region. So no, multi-region, yes, it's not like multi, it's the scope they are showing here, that we still don't leave this area. So this is our scope here. Within this, you want to choose any other regions, yes, you can. So well, it's Google Cloud, it's the third best, and well, it's third. So first and second, they have much bigger options because of their huge infrastructure. Google Cloud is reaching there, but it's a bit behind. Okay, so we go for multi-region. It depends on what is your requirement and how much you want to pay for that. So suppose we click multi-region here. I'm going to click continue. Once you click continue, so it says choose a default storage class for your data. Now remember, storage classes in AWS and Azure as well, lots of those there, and a storage class sets costs towards storage, retrieval, and operations. So you want to retrieve for storing an object and retrieve an object. Pick a default storage class based on how long you plan to store your data and how often it will be accessed. So now obviously hot data and cold data in Azure is nearline. Nearline is hot data, cold line is cold data, and archive is archive in Azure, right? And that was frequently accessed data, infrequently accessed data, and archive was Glacier in AWS. So that's how we can compare with AWS and Azure. So it's the same type of classes there. The concept is same. We just need to know what's the naming convention they're using. If I go to learn more here for the storage classes as well, so key concepts here, and you can change storage class of an existing object either by rewriting the object or by using object lifecycle management. So lifecycle management is pretty much everywhere. And when you go down here, this is the storage class here: standard storage, standard, minimum storage duration none, and typical monthly availability 99.99% in multi-regions and dual regions, and 99.99% in regions. So it's the same availability. And when it comes, this is availability, right? So they're not talking about durability. Durability was like 9 nines, right? 99.9999999. You would just keep on counting nines there. Availability was pretty much the same here, 99.9% or 99.99%. This is high availability they're talking about. That's why less nines are there. And yes, there you go. High durability is 99.999% annual durability. So durability is that your data will be intact, will not get corrupted. Availability obviously is that it will be highly available, this much SLA they are giving, and multi-regions and dual regions, it will be highly available. So normally it should be able to tolerate the loss of multiple availability zones. Standard storage, if we go a little, this is standard storage, right? So standard storage, standard, minimum storage duration is none, and typical availability is this, right? So this is what we're talking about. And if we go down here, for standard storage is the best data, is for data that is frequently accessed, hot data. Okay, so standard storage is hot data and or stored for only brief periods of time. When used in a region, standard storage is appropriate for storing data in the same location as Google Kubernetes engine clusters or compute engine instances that use the data. So where you create virtual machines, that data will also be stored there. Co-locating your resources maximizes the performance of data-intensive computations. When used in dual region, you still get optimized performance when accessing. So yes, optimized performance will be there. When used in multi-region, standard storage is appropriate for storing data that is accessed around the world, such as serving website content. Okay, well, I was trying to check here. It is, yes, multi-region, all regions it is 99.99% availability SLA. Typical monthly availability is this. But they don't really talk about how many copies will be there and how much is, if there's a data center down, how many data centers can be down and still we have the data available, right? That data will be copied to how many availability zones, pretty much. That's what I'm talking about. So this is also a good read there, but we can just go for the main definition there. Standard is hot data, then there is nearline storage. Default in Azure is exactly 3, and in AWS also we can tolerate the loss of 3 data stores. So standard storage, standard nearline storage. So nearline is what? 30 days, 99.9%. If I go to nearline storage for the definition, so nearline storage is a low cost, highly durable storage service for storing infrequently. So what I was saying, nearline was hot. No, nearline is actually infrequently accessed data. So the main is standard. So standard is the hot data or frequently accessed. Nearline is the infrequently accessed data, and minimum you have to have 30 days there. And then cold line storage is then obviously more infrequently data more infrequent. So there's cold line. Cold line storage is very low cost, highly durable storage service for storing infrequently accessed data. Cold line storage is better choice than standard storage or nearline storage in scenarios where slightly lower availability, a 90-day minimum storage duration, and higher costs for data access are acceptable trade-offs for lowered at-rest storage costs. Long term, you want to save the data. That cost will be very less than nearline and standard storage. But whenever you retrieve the data, the cost is higher. But obviously, when you're paying by second or per hour, so that cost will be much lesser. And nearline also is highly durable storage for storing infrequently accessed data. Nearline storage is a better choice than standard storage in scenarios where slightly lower availability, a 30-day minimum storage duration, and cost for data access are acceptable trade-offs for lowered at-rest storage costs. So when you're keeping the data there, it's cheaper. Nearline is cheaper than standard. Cold line is cheaper than nearline and standard, and obviously then archive is cheapest there available. So archive storage is the lowest cost, highly durable storage service for data archiving, online backup, and disaster recovery. Unlike the coldest storage services offered by other cloud providers, your data is available within milliseconds, not hours or days. So yes, well, that's what they're saying, that you store it for long term with us, so you can just access the data right away, while AWS and Azure actually do have different options, although they do offer at once access as well. But they normally offer 12 hour, after 12 hours you get access, or after 4 hours you get access. They're saying you can just access anytime right away, even in the archive storage, which is for long term. So unlike other cloud storage classes, archive storage has no availability SLA, though the typical availability is comparable to nearline storage and cold line storage. Archive storage also has higher cost for data access and operations, as well as 365-day minimum storage duration. So it's 1 year. You need to save it there. I think for Glacier it is 60 days minimum and 3 months, right? They're saying you have to make a 1 year contract with us to go for that. Okay, so cold data storage, archive data such as data stored for legal or regulatory reasons can be stored at low cost as archive storage, yet still be available if you need it. And disaster recovery, in the event of a disaster recovery event, okay, recovery time is a key. Cloud storage provides low latency access to data storage. So they're just saying just access right away. That's what they're really means. There is no hot storage here. So yes, the hot storage actually is the top one, the standard storage. Standard storage is the hot storage, and then if you go for nearline, this is infrequently accessed. Cold line is more infrequently accessed than the nearline, and archive is the longest, cheapest. You want to go for 365 days. So there are two infrequently accessed stages there. Nearline is also infrequently accessed, while cold line storage, so it is cheaper than standard. Cold line access is more even. So you suppose nearline is that well, we can just talk about the data. Suppose there's a data file uploaded, and in our company employees are accessing it for 1 month. After 1 month, normally they start, then it is infrequently being accessed, so you can move it to the nearline storage. After 3 months there, suppose the file is even less accessed, more infrequently accessed, so you can shift it to cold line storage. So it's just cheaper than the others, and then you won't be really using that file, but you still want to archive that for long term, so you can go for archive storage. So that's it, how it is, and the different classes of data and storage classes. That's another good read. storage classes. So if we go ahead or in fact go back here, so well, obviously standard is default, just like in Azure and AWS. They have the hot storage as the default one, and so we're gonna stick to hot storage, best for short-term storage and frequently accessed data. So frequently accessed data. Short-term means that obviously if it's frequently accessed, it's not going to be always frequently accessed. After 1 month or 2 months, it's going to get infrequently accessed. It's going to become infrequently accessed, right? So if you have selected standard, so I think in AWS when we were creating a bucket, it had actually 7 or 8 classes there. In Azure we had pretty much 3 classes, like hot and gold and archive, right? And here they are offering this 4 classes here, storage tier, 4 tiers. Okay, so I'm going to click that continue here after just keeping the hot storage, which is the standard, and I'm going to click continue. So then it says choose how to control access to objects, and there is access control, fine-grained or uniform. So fine-grained is specify access to individual objects by using object level permissions, ACLs, access control lists, in addition to your bucket level permissions. So even in the bucket you want to have object level permissions configured. Okay, this user can use this folder inside the bucket but not other folders, or that one file but not other files, so you can do that too. And uniform is ensure uniform access to all objects in the bucket by using only bucket level permissions. This option becomes permanent after 90 days. So uniform is that everyone, whoever has access to the bucket, has access to everything inside the bucket with same level of permissions. And here you can just fine grain, you can just choose, okay, this guy this much access, that person that much access, these 3 folders and that 4 folders, but not the rest of the 20 folders, suppose. So we can stick to fine grained here, and then we'll click continue. And once we click continue, there is advanced settings here, encryption, Google managed key, customer managed key. This is exactly the same option when you create a bucket in AWS, AWS managed key or customer managed keys. In Azure, when you're creating the storage account, Google managed key or customer managed key. So that's pretty much the same option. Preferably we go for Google or the vendor managed key or the cloud platform managed key. Retention policy, set a retention policy to specify the minimum duration that this bucket's objects must be protected from deletion or modification after they are uploaded. You upload some data, do you want any kind of basic protection there, that if I just uploaded a file, please don't let anyone accidentally delete it or accidentally change it even, right? So you might set a policy to address industry-specific retention challenges. If we go for a set a retention policy, right? So as soon as you upload, do you want that file not to be touched, like in terms of not to be changed or not to be deleted? So retention objects, for suppose you go for test dash retention dash policy. Oh. So enter a duration. Seriously, that was not the retain object for all. I didn't see that. I thought it was the name, and obviously it's written seconds there. So retain for how long? Do you want it in seconds, days, months, years? Wow. So suppose for well, I'll just change it to there's no hours here. That's just day. Okay. Suppose it's 1 day. So enter our duration. It still says there. 1, right? So 1 days, for 1 day, when I upload the file, at least for 1 day, don't let anyone change or delete it, right? So, but you can go for seconds as well, at least for the first 300 seconds or 900 seconds. Don't let anyone delete. So I'm just gonna click that, learn more here as well. And this page discusses blah blah blah, the bucket lock feature. This is, yes, that's what it is called in Azure and AWS locked feature that you can't change and or you cannot delete, right? So you can add a retention policy to a bucket to specify retention period. If a bucket does not have a retention policy, you can delete or replace objects in the bucket at any time. If a bucket has a retention policy, objects in the bucket can only be deleted or replaced once their age is greater than the retention period. Retention policy retroactively applies to existing objects in the bucket as well as new objects added to the bucket. So you can lock a retention policy to permanently set it on the bucket as well. But the main thing to understand here is that you can only the objects could only be deleted and replaced once the retention age. I just put 1 day there, so before the 1 day is over, a newly created object uploaded file cannot be deleted or replaced. So that's pretty much what it says here. I'll just put that as another okay. So if we go back here, and then there are labels. Labels are key value pairs that allow you to group related buckets together or with other cloud platform services. I'm going to click that add label here, and we see that as tags in AWS and Azure. It's called labels here. So example would be department, and that is sales. Okay. Oh, it should not be caps. Department, sales. You can keep on adding labels further if you want to identify it later with those labels. Okay, so we have defined name your bucket, choose where to store your data, choose a default storage class for your data, choose how to control access to objects and advanced settings, encryption, retention policy, and so this is what it is asking while creating a bucket. So I'm just going to click create here, and the bucket is created. So the bucket is this, and that's the name of the bucket that I gave. It's already created. That was fast. And then, well, I'll just go for upload files here. So I'm just going to click that upload files just to upload some random file there. And I'll go to the downloads folder and go for some file. Okay, and some file is being uploaded, some random file. And so when I select the file here, and there on the extreme right there's a 3 dots here. So there is download, edit metadata, edit permissions, copy, move, rename, export to cloud pub/sub, scan with cloud data loss prevention. There is a data loss prevention feature here. Wow, amazing, you're kidding me. So data loss prevention, normally DLP, that's mainly in Office 365, and its main purpose is that none of the sensitive data leaves the organization. If this is a document, this file is actually not an exe file. This one is exe file, but if it was a document, then it would have checked for any sensitive data inside, right? So Modha says how to access it via internet. So there should be a link there. So there's copy the path to the clipboard. There's a path here. Yeah, public. So do you see public already here? Cause there's public. It says not public right now. So yeah, we need to just make it public here, which is related to permissions as well. And if we go further to the right side, there's retention period and there is holds none. So if we click that, did you see anywhere public here? So but it is not public now. If we go inside the file now, I'm just going to click on top of that, right? Now this is not a document, it's an exe file. Let me, and we're going to click edit permissions, but let me just open a document file. This means then if you want to share it over the public, because download link, yes, we can give that too. Let me just quickly upload another file that is actually a document. And can we open it? Do we need more permissions to open it? Status report. Okay, there's some CSV file here, and that is added here. This is a document file. So I'm just gonna select that document file here, and there's upload folder, create folder, manage holds, download, delete. That's it. But there's permissions here, right? First of all, if I go inside the file, I'm gonna click that file and go inside. So there is that authenticated URL that is showing, right? There is a public URL that is not applicable, but this is authenticated URL. So if we go for corporate clipboard here, HTTPS storage, normally we need a public URL here, right, to give it to the public. So if I go for this authenticated URL, so this is obviously mean that whoever has a user account in Google Cloud should be able to access that. If I go up there and paste that, so it gets downloaded right away when we paste that. So if you send that link to anyone else, it's just simply downloading directly, right? But obviously they have to be authenticated as well. Well, that's what the authenticated is supposed to mean. If I go, this is, I'm inside actually incognito mode. I am in a regular area. Now in the regular one it says forbidden, error 403. So now we need to check the permissions. So if I put that directly here, it's not really going for that. So I'm just going to go back here, and then there is edit metadata and there is edit permissions. So I'm inside this file, and then I'm going to edit permissions. And once we click the edit permissions, so there are these permissions here. If you don't rely on individual object level permissions, you can start managing all permissions uniformly at the bucket level. Go to the buckets permissions tab to get started. So this is just a file here, owner, and then user. If I click the add entry here, so there's a user, there's a group, there's a project, and there's a public. So if I click the public here, and all users have public, all authenticated users. So authenticated would definitely still mean that the user has to be belonging to the Google Cloud. But if all users is there, and then do they have reader or owner permission? So okay, reader. But we can add an entry as a public, although we haven't gone to the bucket level, right? We just went to the directly to the file. This object is public and can be accessed by anyone on the internet. To remove public access, search for and remove all public entries from the object's permissions. So well, that's the only public entry here, and I'm gonna click save here now. Now you can see a public URL. If I click copy here this one and go to that, because I won't try this URL, I will try the other one that is public. And well, yeah, the way I'm putting it, it's just again downloading it, and it's not really opening it. If I just go and click directly that link, seriously, it's downloading this. Now I just want to open it. Just go for another tab and try to do this. Really? Okay, so it's not directly opening in the browser itself, it's still letting you download it. But this is how you can make it public, and then anyone can download that. So the public URL is there. If I go back here, this is just one single file, and the permissions are on the project level, and then there were other permissions as well there. If I go back to the bucket level, so this is the whole bucket, and these permissions are for the whole bucket. If I click that permissions for the whole bucket, there's a public access subject to object ACLs or access control lists. And one or more objects in this bucket could be public to the internet if they grant access to all users or all authenticated users. Check each object's permission to see if they are public. You can also restrict access and streamline permissions by switching to uniform bucket level access. So uniform and access fine grained, we saw those two types there. Uniform, it's same type of permissions on the whole bucket, or just like we did now, we went to just one file and made it public, and all other files are still not public, right? So then there is it still says, hey, you want to switch to uniform or you want to keep it fine grained. Fine grained, then you can go one by one file and you can actually tackle all the permissions there. So this is access to objects can be granted through Object Access Control List ACLs to enforce a single set of permissions on the bucket and its objects switch to uniform. Normally, it's easier to have fine-grained permission when you don't want everyone to be having same type of access. Some have more access, some have less access, right? So in that case, so there are these editors, owners, viewers. I'm going to click the Add in the permissions area. I'm going to click the Add button here. Now, we do know that in the G Suite, I've created 5 users, right? So I think they were my first name, and then yep, these are those users there, and I'm gonna just select any one of those users, suppose, and then the role for this user, it goes a lot, then you really have to check that what kind of role are you really giving. Suppose it's an end user, or suppose this user is only good for having access to this bucket. And now if I see that a user being added, you don't see long list of permissions here, right? So there is just that storage. I wanted to check the storage, but it is cloud storage written here. You want the user to be cloud storage viewer only, and you want the user to be, normally it's not supposed to be end users, it's supposed to be some admins that you will give access in the first place. Otherwise those URLs can be given to other users. Hey, just download that, click that, and it will download the files for you to the end users. If you're adding a user here to access the bucket, so obviously they could use some higher permissions as well. So cloud storage, cloud admin, suppose it's an admin, object creator. So you want that user only to create object, or object admin, full control of GCS objects, or storage admin. So suppose I just go for any type of access here. I'll just go for storage admin. You can keep on giving more accesses here and send email notification that the storage admin was given, that access was given. So I'm just going to click save. Okay, so I've added another user and I'm going down here. So it's pretty straightforward, nothing really technical here. I mean, like nothing really difficult to understand. So user is added and given some kind of permission here. I can go for edit member and it's going to show us the same area again here. I'll just cancel out here. So we can add users like that. Then there is that objects on the bucket level. We were first of all in objects, and in objects you see upload folder, create folder. There is manage holds here, right? Select one or more objects to manage holds. What's a hold? We may have talked about that before as well. Suppose I select this object. This is .exe file here. Exe files are normally dangerous and should not be really. You could zip it and then upload it, because majority of the antivirus will mark it as dangerous file and would block it. So I just uploaded the exe file directly. But then there's a manage hold here. So I'm going to click that manage hold, and it says there objects with holds in place are protected from deletion and modification until the holds have been manually removed and their retention expiry dates have passed. Remember that on this bucket I put a retention date of 1 day for one day, nobody can change or delete any file here, right? And other than that, the hold normally is for investigations or for any other reason that you would not want anyone to mess with the file, make any changes or delete the file. So suppose I go for temporary hold here, enforces object retention until the hold has been removed. Enforces object retention, and retention basically means no delete, no change, right? So enforces object retention until the hold has been removed, even after an object's retention expiry date has passed, and if the bucket's retention policy would normally allow deletion. Sample use case: preserve relative records until an investigation ends. So obviously you would put a hold. In the common scenario is investigation. Event-based hold, and that is also what you can do. Enforces object retention until the hold has been removed. Removing the hold resets an object's retention. Sample use: what would you do? Retain records for a set duration of time after a user-defined trigger event, e.g. Retain records for 6 years after a contract ends. So suppose a user leaves the organization, that is, and the company compliance policy is retain that user's record for 6 years, right? Maybe an investigation from another outside agency has begun for that user, and they're asking older data of years back data of that user who has left your company already, but for legal purposes you need to still retain that data. So in that case you can go for event-based hold as well. Okay, so but we get that there's a feature called hold here, right? I'm just gonna cancel out from here, and there's so not much here. Download, upload folder, create folder, delete object. So if you go on the bucket level, so this was the object level. If you go for the bucket level, there is objects, then there is configuration, and that's the configuration of the whole bucket. Default storage class is standard, right? So if I want to change that, so first of all I cannot change the multiple regions selection as it was told when we were creating the bucket that this is a permanent change. So we can't move to single region now, right? So here default storage class, if I click the edit button here, so I can still go for nearline, hold line, or archive it for a long term. Now this bucket data can be then archived for 1 year. 1 year you can't really touch it. It's a 1 year contract that you're entering when you select this archive. So it's standard, but we can go for nearline. Suppose I go for nearline, suppose I select that, I'm not gonna save that. Storage class impacts costs for storage, retrieval, and operations. So compare storage classes carefully before saving your selection. So what basically we need to know is that keeping the data there, the cost will be lower. Daily or hourly cost will be lower. Whenever you retrieve the data, at that time the retrieval fee will be more than the standard fee. This is the same for Azure, this is the same for AWS as well. Because they are giving you lower cost for keeping the data for a long time, when you come here to retrieve, obviously then they need to make money as well. So they say that, okay, now you came, so yes, it is this. Okay, if we go ahead, well, I'm going to cancel out from here, or I'll put standard and, well, still cancel out. And then there is we were in storage class, encryption type, Google managed or customer managed. We can keep it Google managed. Requester pays. Now requester pays was an option here in AWS. I didn't see that in Azure, but if you're offering a lot of files here in the bucket, the requester, whoever, maybe there are thousands of users who want to download files from here, so obviously that will be it will cost you the storage fee as well as the connectivity and bandwidth fee. So you can just turn it on that the requester will pay. Whoever requests the file and downloads the file, whatever charges are incurred because of that, requester pays. So if I click that, so requests for the buckets data will be billed to the requester's project instead of the bucket owner. So the requester will be prompted to select their own billing project. So okay, well, requester will pay, and requester should have created his or her own project separately when they are copying files from here. And access control, fine grained or uniform, we talked about that. Labels, and then link URL. So this is the configuration overall of the bucket in Google Cloud Platform. Not a lot of services like Azure and AWS. You have a long list of services there, right? Some of those are there here as well, but Google Cloud still need to do a lot of improvement. And then comes the permissions, which we already talked about, how to add persons or how to change to uniform. Other than that, there is retention, and retention, I said for the bucket, I selected 1 day, and in fact I can edit that. So I'm just going to click the edit button here, and so can I go for 0 days? So yeah, it's 1 day, but instead of 1 day, I'll go for seconds. 1 second. Oh, did I not change that? 1 second, save. I just want to change that, right? So for 1 second, please don't delete after upload of the file, and after that, go ahead and delete. So, and lock status, and lock, it is unlocked right now, but if I click the lock button, so it says this action is permanent. Wow, don't do that. This action is permanent. By locking the policy, you will incur storage costs for the full retention period of the bucket's objects. Thank God I put 1 second. So the retention, this retention policy enforces its 1 second retention period whether or not it's locked. Only lock the policy to take the additional permanent step of preventing the policy from being shortened or removed. So the main thing is, do you want to lock it? And sometimes when you do that, I've seen that then you have to talk to the support to really delete that, because if this is not, bucket is not deleted, you cannot delete your project as well, right? So repercussions are not very welcoming. So I'm just going to cancel out from here, but we can lock the whole bucket as well. Hey, don't delete anything. And default event-based hold option. So yes, event-based hold option, we already talked about the hold. You can go for your own manual hold for how many days, whatever number of days, or event-based. And then there is a life cycle here. So life cycle rules lets you apply actions to a bucket objects when certain conditions are met. For example, switching objects to colder storage classes when they reach or pass a certain age. If an object meets the conditions for multiple rules, deletion takes precedence over a change in storage class. So changing objects to colder storage classes takes precedence over changing to warmer ones. So there are some precedences there as well that which will be available. But lifecycle rule overall does what? That after some time, please move my files to a colder storage. So this is pretty much the same, even the name is same in AWS and Azure, that you want to move the data. So the first one would be frequently accessed, right? Frequent, and frequently accessed data will be there. So that was the standard storage. And after, so suppose you ask your employees of the company and colleagues that, hey, how long do you use a new file? And they say, yes, for 1 month we do use a new file, and after that we infrequently use that file. So what you can do here in lifecycle is that you can automatically move all the files after 30 days after their upload. You can move it to infrequently accessed, right? So that would be nearline storage. Nearline would be infrequently accessed. So it would be infrequent. So, and the charges here for keeping the files are lower than the frequently accessed or standard storage. So nearline I said, so obviously this is standard. We just talked about that. So standard storage is the hot storage or frequently accessed. Then after nearline 60 days, you ask the employees that, hey, okay, so after 60 days what happened? And they say, yes, we even start using even more infrequently. so that we can say more infrequent. They've created two stages of infrequent, right? Well, that's the same in AWS as well. More infrequent, and that is cold line. Cold line. So you say that after 60 days of creation of file, just move it to the cold line. This is also cheaper than the near line. And then after maybe 90 days of of the file being uploaded, then you can go for finally archive for long-term archive or long-term backup. Right? That is the cheapest. So standard. So this is what we are about to configure for lifecycle management. That after this many days, please automatically move my data to this storage class, so I could pay less per month. And then please, after 60 days, move all my files from nearline to cold line, so I would even pay lesser. And then please move it to archive. So, well, overall, this is what we did when we were covering lifecycle management of data in Azure and AWS as well, and even with exactly that name. Okay. Down here. So, okay. I put it on WhatsApp as well. So here, not here. So let's click the add rule and set storage class to nearline. So after you have added or edited a rule, it may take up to 24 hours to take effect. So set storage class to nearline, best for backups and data access less than once a month. So cold line archive objects will not be changed to nearline. So and then there is a continue here. So first of all, it is selected here, and we don't need to select object conditions. So we can still select the object condition for this, and that is age or created before or storage class matches number of newer versions, days since becoming non-current. So there are so many options there. Suppose you go for age here, and how many days should pass. Suppose I put 30 days. So what am I saying here now? If after the file is uploaded in the standard storage, which is the default one, so after 30 days of uploading in the standard storage, please move it to nearline, which is for infrequently accessed files. Please move it to the nearline storage class, which is cheaper than the hot standard storage. So that's what I'm saying here. After selecting the object condition, which is age, so after 30 days, please move it to nearline. So I'm just gonna go down here to continue this one, and okay, so object conditions, it still takes us back, and we can continue from here as well. So select an action. After you have added or edited a rule, it may take up to 24 hours. Well, actually we want some more of this as well. If I click that select an action, so there's a set storage class to cold line. Suppose I select that and click continue, and click the conditions. So it's not doing it that way, the way we were configuring it in AWS and Azure, and it did used to do that to do what? At first we configure that nearline here, and we give that after 30 days, right? After that, I'm going to click continue here, because I want not only the data to be on nearline, after it is there for maybe whatever time in nearline, I want to move it to cold line, or I want to move it directly to archive as well, right? So so I did give this, but when I click continue, then it goes to the select object conditions for the nearline, and it says age 30. Age is counted from when an object was uploaded. So if I click continue, that's it. So I can create it. We're not adding lifecycle rule, as it will take 24 hours. Yeah, it takes After you have added or edited a rule, it may take 24. Yes, it is going to take 24 hours, but it's quite different from Azure, that it's just letting us go for any one type right now, that just move it to nearline in one go. We're supposed to, we should be able to change from, we should be able to tell it the whole life cycle, that after that many days move it to archive as well, and then delete object after that. So it's supposed to be considered a one in one go. So continue, I'm just going to click the create because that's the only option here. Once I create that, that's a rule. Now I can go for another rule, right? So I know that my objects that were uploaded on standard storage, hot storage, will be moved to nearline. I'll go for another rule now, add a rule. This time I'm saying that I'm going for the code line rule, right? That's the second one. So, and then I'll click continue, then it's asked for action. Hey, should be the age of that? So I'm just gonna go for 60 days after the upload. I know that 30 days after the upload of a file, it will be sent to nearline. So 60 days after the upload of the file, it should be sent to code line here. So that's what I'm defining, and I know that the file will be coming then from nearline to core line, because every file after 30 days has to move to nearline, the cheaper storage, and this is cheaper than that. So I put that 60 days there, right? So I'll just click continue here, and I've created the second rule. So we are supposed to then create the rules this way. If the in one wizard it should be showing us all that. That's how it is in AWS and Azure, but in Google Cloud it's that you create a separate rule for all different types. I'm going to click add a rule again, third time now. I'm going to go for archive, that I'm selecting for archive, and I'll go for age here. Obviously after 90 days, 3 months, or 180 days, maybe, whatever, 180 days. Suppose I put here after 6 months. I'm sure nobody will be accessing those files, so please put it on long-term archive. Whatever file was uploaded after 6 months of that. So I know that after 30 days it will be sent to nearline. Then I know after 60 days it will be sent to core line, and after 180 days I want that file to be after the upload, 180 days after the upload, right? Continue and create that too. And I do know one more rule is there about the delete object, so I'm just going to go ahead and add a rule. This is the fourth one, delete object. So objects cannot be restored after deletion. This is a permanent delete unless you have object versioning enabled. With versioning enabled, live objects will be made non-current, and non-current versions will be permanently deleted. So it just says that if versioning is there, then live objects or the will be made non-current, and non-current versions will be permanent. So they just go through two more phases if you have versioning enabled there, and the two phases are that first they will be marked as non-current, and then they will be first they will marked as non-current, and then and non-current versions will be deleted. So it's just extra phase that you add if versioning is enabled. So delete object, I'm going to click continue, and then it asks that okay, how many days after that. I'm just going for age, otherwise there are many other options here as well, and that is 2555. Anyone knows how many years is that? That's an easy one. We've done that in AWS and Azure as well. So 255 days. Anyone knows how many years is that? Well, by now I would have Googled it. Yes, you're right, exactly. It is 7 years. Okay, nobody said anything, but yeah, it's just 7 years, and by law, you should save financial data for 7 years. It is a law. If you delete any employee's data or financial data before 7 years, then if the government needs it or investigation agencies need that, and it's not there, and it's not been 7 years as well, then your company's in big trouble. Alright, so I'm just going to click continue here and 3 and 8. So that's how we can create a lifecycle management policy. So the data will automatically then move to from frequently accessed storage to cheaper and then cheapest storage until it is deleted after 7 years. If you plan to keep the data for 7 years, in that case only, obviously. So this is all about the bucket in this list. So I'm going to go back here to the bucket, and I'm going to go to the storage browser. This is on the storage level, right? So if we select that bucket that we created there, and if I go on the bucket level and select this, so there's edit bucket permissions, we've gone through that. Labels, default storage class, we've gone to that. Delete bucket, we can go for that. Export to cloud pops up. This is for development as well. Process with cloud functions, this is again programmers can do that. Scan with cloud data loss prevention. Now this is not a lot of options here, but if you go to the monitoring and settings, there's settings here as well, right? So if we go for monitoring, first of all, if you go for monitoring here, so there's monitoring showing here, and in region read bandwidth usage, that's it, and that is North America, Northeast 1, Montreal. So within the region, oh, did I not change it to East US? I don't remember actually changing it to East US. So but they have assigned that data center because I said, hey, multi-region within United States, right? So then it would be this. So if we go to settings here, then it goes for project access and interoperability. So cloud storage provides REST API and command line tool to create, share, and manage your data. So the way you connect to that is also called in programmers language as REST API. How do you connect to the bucket? And identifying your project. Yes, this is a project ID and cloud storage service account ID and cloud storage ID. So settings is all about ID. If we go for interoperability, the Interoperability API allows Google Cloud Storage to interoperate with tools written for other cloud storage systems. This enables you to run migrations to cloud storage and to authenticate both user and service accounts using keyed hash message authentication codes, HMAC. So in English, what it's saying is that you want to migrate data from other cloud storage providers, then you can migrate, make sure here with the information on this page. So make sure that the request endpoint in the tools or libraries that you use with other cloud storage systems like Amazon S3 uses the cloud storage URI as https://storage.googleapis.com. So when you're about to send or migrate data from AWS S3 bucket, and then you can just use this link, and if you're using some of your own created tool there, if you have written some kind of tools written for the cloud storage systems, right? So there's a, for security, there's a create a key for a service account whenever you are doing a migration. Default project for interoperable access. So well, if you're connecting to from AWS to S3 to Google Cloud Storage, then this is the page for telling that, okay, which Google Cloud, what is the ID of that, what is the secret key there, so, and the project is this. So this is that information. So that interoperability is all about connecting to some other storage for the purpose of migration. So project access, and then there's monitoring, and then there is browser. Now I'm going to go ahead and create another bucket. So suppose I go ahead and create a second bucket here, and well, it's we've seen the option of how to create a bucket already. If I cancel out from here, what I was checking here because first of all, it's not as advanced as Azure and AWS. You saw a huge amount of features there for AWS and Azure storage, but you don't see much here. And even last year when I was doing this course, this was pretty much it. They have made it better, but in terms of what else we can do, so if I go inside the bucket, that's it: objects, configuration, permissions, retention, lifecycle. That's all we can do. And manage holds. Okay, so it's all about this, but nothing else, right? So otherwise, normally options do show or are supposed to show here. But yes, these were the options before as well. So not a lot of improvements, not a lot of services available. But that is that storage within this where you create buckets. Here there are some options. Few options are showing. If you go outside of that navigation menu and go down, so there's a storage written here, right? And in the storage there is data transfer here, there is file store as well, and there are backups here as well, right? And instances there as well. But the storage itself has just 3 categories here. And then if I go to the data transfer here, if I click that data transfer, so we did do a data transfer actually from Google Suite, within Google Suite, right? We did a data migration, which was just the emails of Office 365, which we created there, and migrated the emails to our Google Gmail, connected to this Google Cloud platform. But what is data transfer? Obviously, it's the same. Transfer data to your cloud storage buckets from Amazon Simple Storage Service S3, HTTPS servers, or other buckets. You can schedule once-off or daily transfers, and you can filter files based on name, prefix, and when they were changed. So I'll just go ahead a little just to show some of the features there or the questions there. If I click the create transfer, not a lot there. Transfer data to cloud storage bucket from a source that you specify here. And transfer service account must have permission to read from your source and write to your destination. So Google Cloud storage bucket, select source. Suppose it's another storage bucket. Suppose you have another cloud platform, or then all these that you have: Amazon S3 bucket or Microsoft Azure storage container, so suppose it's Microsoft Azure storage container. Enter the details of Azure storage container account that you want to transfer, storage account name, container name, and SaaS. We talked about SaaS, shared access signature, and select destination here, which would be this bucket, and then configure transfer. So that's pretty straightforward, but it's asking, by providing Azure storage credentials, you acknowledge that transfer service is your agent solely for the limited purpose of accessing your container for transfers. Now, it does seem like pretty straightforward. I do have a Azure account there, and what I can do is, in fact, we all have, or majority of us have. So what I can do is I can go out there, and if I just type here Azure and portal, so I'm logged into the Azure portal, and if I go to storage accounts, this one, now you can do it after when the video is uploaded, or if you're fast enough. Like if I click the add button, so this is the storage account we used to create in Azure, right? I went to storage and I am creating a storage account all of a sudden without warning, and I'll click that create new and 16. So this is resource group here, RG 16Dec2020, and press OK. So this is today's resource group, and storage account name is your first name dash 16Dec2020 dash mig, which is migration, GCP. Okay, so I put too long name here, so I'll just put that simple name there, or it should not end with a contain only lowercase letters and numbers. Name must be between 3 and 24 characters. Okay. A. Good. What is wrong with what I wrote there? There's no space. Maybe they don't accept that. Okay, so this means that I can just type here make and GCP. And Canada Central, I'll go for East US here, within the US. And standard storage version 2, read access, RGRS is by default networking. I'll go public endpoint, it's open in public, all defaults, right? And no data protection here, all defaults. Next, and nothing advanced here. Data transfer has to be HTTPS, that's all. And tags, nothing in the tags. Review plus create. We've been doing that a lot. I mean, that class took like first time in my life it took 21 days to finish Azure. Okay. So it's gonna get created now, the storage deployment in progress. It's just all default options other than we gave a name and resource group name and storage group, storage account name. These are the two names we gave, and then it's next, finish, right? And if I go back to the migration data transfer service in Google Cloud platform, so it's asking Microsoft Azure storage container, storage account name, container name, so we need to create a container, and SaaS signature, so that would be that shared access signature. So with SaaS signature, normally you do control access that what areas of the storage account are accessible and what areas are not accessible. If I go back, yep, it's done. So storage account is created. I'll go to the navigation menu and I'll go down to storage accounts. One storage account is here. I'll click that storage account here. So it is showing overview, and well, the storage account name and everything is there, but the container is not there. So how do we create containers? It's an overview is written here as well, or we will go down until the where the blob service is, and then there's the container. So hopefully we all remember that. I'll click the container here. All I need to do is just give a name. So it's sales department. I don't know what's with me and sales department. I always put sales. And okay, so container anonymous read access for containers and blobs. I'll just go for the third one. All container blob data can be read by anonymous request. Yes. For now, I just don't want surprises. I want a clear migration unless there are surprises there. I'm going to click create here with all access given to. If I go inside the container in Azure, nothing here, right? I'll upload some random files. Select a file and go for downloads here. So all kinds of files that are there. User printers, users, company owned devices. So whatever files are there. Not workstation. Okay. some random small files I'm uploading there, and upload. These are very small files. Upload it. So if I go back there, so it's asking in Google Cloud Platform, Microsoft Azure Storage Container, storage account name, container name, but shared access signature or SAS as well. So what is that? We need to go back to Azure. Now I'm inside Microsoft Azure, and I'll go up to the storage container level. First of all, container level. I'm inside the dashboard of storage account in Microsoft Azure, and if I go down here, SAS was up there, I think. Yeah, there's a shared access signature, this one, SAS, and you can see that it has we can just select that what you want to give access to, but there's a shared access signature. Suppose you don't want the other, whoever you're giving this URL to should not have. I'm not. Moment Sock says I have not taken Azure course. Looking forward to it. Oh yeah, yeah, but it's good to see that too. And when you will go to the course, then definitely. So I'm just going for any other storage. We could have gone for AWS as well. Okay, so here. Well, I'm not changing anything here just to avoid any surprises, and its start and expiry date time is 12/16 to 17. Okay, 2 days. One from now till tomorrow, 3 a.m. So we can keep on transferring. So I'll go for 18, and it's Eastern time. And allowed IP addresses. No, I don't want to put a public IP here. And it's HTTPS and HTTP both I'm allowing there. I'm just going as lenient as possible, so it should not give me surprises, but still we never know. So pretty much everything is open in this shared access signature or SAS, and there's key 1 here, so I'm just going to click the generate SAS and connection string. So once we click that, so then it shows that okay, this is a string you can use on wherever you want to share this whole, maybe the container of this storage account or the file service or blob service. So I want to actually share the blob service here, right? I'm going to go for the blob service, this one, blob service SAS URL, copy that, and go to my, so I've just put that first, shared access signature, or I'll click show SAS as well, but I haven't put the storage account name and container name, so I'll put that one by one, and with fingers crossed, it could anytime ask for any other thing as well. Oh, you're missing this or that. So there's a container name here. If I'll tag, I'm in Google Cloud Platform now, and container name, it just wants a container name. I'm back to Microsoft Azure here after Alt Tab on the keyboard, and I am going for the container name here. Alt Tab again, and I'm in Google Cloud Platform. So, and then storage account name. So Alt Tab again, back to Microsoft Azure. I'll go up. This is the storage account name if I click overview. So resource group, status, location, subscription, account kind. Well, what am I looking for? Storage account name is this. Control C, Alt Tab, again back to Google Cloud Platform, and putting the name. So as far as I want to migrate data from Microsoft Azure and whatever information it wanted, it seems to be that I have provided that information. So I'll just go ahead and click next, continue, and then it says that okay, destination, where do you want to put this? So I'm gonna right click here and duplicate, because I need to know my bucket name, right? And I don't want to go away from this page as well. So I'm going to create a duplicate of this page. So I can go to the bucket and check out the name there. So I'll go for the navigation menu and go down, 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 down. Storage, browser. And here's my bucket. I'll click on top of this, go inside the bucket and put the bucket name. Copy the bucket name, go back to the project page. Oh, I could have browsed it, seriously. Let me browse it first and check that. It was showing there all the time. Double click. Well, that's it. I'll just select the bucket name and select. So instead of copy pasting and duplicating and copy pasting, should have browsed it. And override destination with source even when identical. Well, I know my bucket is not having those files that I had there. In fact, I think there is one. So I'm going to click override destination with source even when identical. Override. Delete objects from source once they are transferred. Delete object from destination if there is no version in source. Nah, everything else is okay. But if the files are same, override. I'm going to click continue here as well. And configure transfer. Run now. Okay. Description is this. Okay. Seems like everything is going ahead fine until now, because the real action starts when I click the create button, and then it spills out whatever it wants to say. There's that, I had to say spill out. So the policy has been modified by another process. Please try again. Tracking number is this. Are you kidding me? Did I put any restriction on this bucket? 1 second, retention, rejection, right? Did I put anything else that had let me have some? To complete this transfer, you need the storage.buckets.setIam policy permission for the destination bucket. Ask the bucket's administrator to grant you the required permission and try again. On the bucket, I did not give, so it says okay, so connector, Google Cloud Storage. Oh, so Chintan has shared a link here, and that is Data Factory, and continue storage by using Azure. So yeah, there are many other services. Definitely you want to go for that service. That is also okay. Azure Data Factory. That can also copy files from there to here, and it has very well, yeah, it shows scripts as well as. So there are other services in Google Cloud that also do migration. This is just simple, straightforward storage migration, but there are many services, multiple services actually, in Google Cloud as well as Azure. In fact, with the Data Factory, other than Data Factory, there are other services as well. So yes, and they said required permission. Yeah, so I was gonna go for those permissions. Well, is this document going to mention the permissions as well?
Go down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this one. Okay, so required permission for that. So to copy data from Google Cloud Storage, make sure you've been granted the following permissions for object operations storage.objects.com, and oh yeah, thank you for that. So well, I'm just gonna go ahead and so yeah, I think I have to create transfer job later. Again, so select destination is this. So on this bucket, so I'll just go for this bucket and go for IAM policy in the permission for the bucket. So I'll go for the permission and try to give myself the permission there. For it also did not show clearly in this message. So yes, what document you gave, I'll just go for that. So I'm just going to the other side, the bucket, and there's permissions here, and the logged in account right now is this admin add installing soft. So there's editors, owners, and viewers of legacy bucket owner. I'll just add myself. Oh, admin. Yep, there it is. And if we go to cloud storage, so there's storage, cloud migration, cloud builds, cloud storage legacy. if I go for cloud storage admin first of all, and then I'll check again if that exact right. Storage admin should have all the rights covered. There's an IAM policy, and there is security admin. Let me check others. Storage dot. Oh man, that's a lot. Storage management. So security admin. Okay, I'll go for security admin as well. I'm just doing some shopping now. So I'll go for now that storage admin pretty much should give me all the rights that I need, and security admin also, but I'm just checking if I need something else. Cloud migration. If we go for Velostrata, storage access manager, ability to create and manage compute VMs to run Velostrata infrastructure. That's for a third party. Ability to access migration storage with Velostrata. Okay. Yeah. So don't think it's really showing those type of permissions, but overall, if what we have given may work actually, right? I'm gonna click manage roles here as well, and that is where we're back. So if I go for that document, to copy the permissions for object operations, storage.objects.get and storage.objects.list. So these are really straightforward. If you use Data Factory UI to author, I think these are related to Data Factory.
There is, can you go down?
Yeah.
There is IAM roles and on that same permission.
Yeah.
Go to permission. Yeah. Click on the IAM roles for cloud storage. No, down. Yes. Last line.
Oh yeah, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, before also we tried to give this. Yeah, that document was actually showing where to go. Interoperability, right? And let me just go back there. One more thing I needed to check is this. In the settings of the storage, there is interoperability. And is your default project. So let me just check interoperability of your rule found, set the that contains data, your service account, and define the right levels of permissions by using the Cloud AM on GCP. Okay, so we have to have a service account that actually has those particular permissions. Okay, that is there, yes. And if I go back, although I've given some bigger or higher level permissions there, so storage admin, actually other, when I added, I did not add fully. Oh, that's, I didn't add at all anything. So anyway, this was in the settings, this one, and then interoperability, and there we had, this is the create a key for service account, and master as default, access key for the user account. So this is the access key for your service account. So you have to have, normally it was not asking for a key, it was not asking for actually a service account as well, but this is good for migrations with security there. And so first thing, I'll just try to go for that high level permissions that I've given to my account and currently logged in. Let me just try that and then come back here to do this, or we can always do that later as well, or I'll come up with that if the troubleshooting requires more. I did not at the end saved it, so all configurations were gone. So let me just go cloud storage admin, and another role was security admin, just giving high level roles to save time, but otherwise I'll check it out and give the correct lab then. So it was a bit simpler last year for it, it to work. So it was much simpler, but they have added some more security, which is always obviously a good idea. Now I don't think it's gonna implement right away, but tracking number is this. So guys, let's take that. Oh man, what? I think I will just take another break. And can we have a break? Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I'll check it out in the break, and otherwise then I'll have to go for we'll continue with topics, and I will have come up with this what was wrong and where exactly we need to give permissions, right? Okay, so let's take a break. 7:40, 50, 8 o'clock, right? So let's take a break and then come back. Oh, Zoom. Alright guys, we're talking about file store, and before that what happened really is okay, I forgot to really resume after the break. So after the break what really happened is that that error was coming there for I was not able to transfer that, so I had to go. Thank God I took the screenshots. So the permission is part of the storage admin, so I went to the project role, and inside the role I went for storage admin role, and then I saw that there's storage.buckets.set IAM policy. That is part of the storage admin role, and this is the policy that was required, storage.buckets.set IAM policy. So pretty much on the project level I went to IAM there, and I went to admin and installing soft.xyz. I opened that role, went to cloud storage, and went to storage admin and added it. And after that, the most important thing is what is the most important thing? After doing exactly that sign out and from all browsers, from all GCP logged browsers, and sign in from one browser and go straight, and go configure the migration again, right? So that was done, and yes, the storage admin was added to this account. After that we needed to sign out, sign in, and then do the migration. So yeah, so then do the migration, and for the migration what we were doing, and we were getting the error. If you do those steps before the break I was doing, if you do those steps you will be just okay. But that was the main thing that needed to be done. So if I go back, the transfer is still starting. Are you kidding me? Okay, this is operations. I'm going to go to the configuration and then go to the operation. Okay, I will try to move this weekend from Scarborough to Niagara, right? Just kidding. So here it's still doing the migration, but there's no error, so it might take I don't know how long time. But that's what I did after the break, and I just tried the whole thing again that I was doing before the break, and I was getting the error. After the break, if you give yourself storage admin and then sign out, sign in, and then go back and do the transfer, it will simply start doing this. That's what I did after the break. Sorry for not remembering to resume, but I explained. After that we were talking about file store, and file store is just I just created a diagram for that. So file store is, you can just create an instance here and then create a shared folder inside, and then map, and then you create any other Linux or Windows instance, then simply map this shared folder to that Windows or Linux instance. So that's what you need to do. So it says here, what is file store? So it's just a file server for you with where you can create a lot of shared folders that you can map to other instances, right? So it says here, create a file store instance, then mount the file share from that instance on a client VM machine, create a file on that mounted file share, delete the file store instance. So pretty much straightforward. It's but you have to create an instance here and then create a shared folder inside. It offers you what? NAS, network attached storage, and that is supporting NFS, network file system. Purely, obviously, we're talking Linux here. It supports NFS version 3, and it's the network attached storage that you get, you create when you create an instance, right? So that said, yeah, numbers are moving. So if I go ahead, so this is the cloud file storage where we were, and so I just went to this and then went down to storage area here, and then I went to file store. If I click the file store here, so now it says enable API. So I'm just going to click that enable. This means that we can actually try to create an instance here. And this, the documentation is already showing here. I'm going to try to, for the file store, how to configure the file store. So it's just showing everything here, that create a compute engine VM instance to be the client, and then inside the instance you can go to compute engine instance page, create instance, and then once you create the instance, then inside what commands you need to give, that is where this document will be helpful. Mount the file store, file share on the client. So this is purely Linux, and I don't know which version they have added here. NFS server, US Central. It could be any Linux, but these are the commands that would just help you mount the file share. Create a file on the file share, then that it goes to this, and so this is the whole lab for doing this. How to configure a file store. So I'll just put that here with the documentation. So how to create a file store. File store, create a file share, Linux file share, that is, create a Linux file share, and then map it to a newly created Linux instance. Okay, so I'm putting it, link it there, and in WhatsApp as well, and here. Well, it was here already. So now obviously I did not create this lab. It was like file share, so you just have to create two instances, and then the commands you need to run on both are there already. So well, once I click enable, it's showing that Scarborough speeds here. Oh man. Okay, so yeah, it's still working on it. Oh, it heard that. Sorry, I heard it's feelings now. So not only that, you can use instance. An instance is a fully managed network attached storage system that you can use with your Google Compute Engine and Kubernetes engine instances. Then there are backups as well. In file store, a file store backup is a copy of an instance stored in a regional GCS bucket. They can be restored to any new or existing instance. Use backups for disaster recovery. Obviously, it's a backup and it's again beta, so this means that they're still under preview. and you can't actually create a backup here, but once you create instances and when you create a backup, so they are actually shown here in the backups area. So there's that instance, and I'll go ahead and create an instance for a file store, and the instance ID, suppose your first name dash file store instance, and control A, control C, and control V, and configure access service tier. So it's basic general purpose NFS storage system, optimized for cost, 1 up to 63 terabyte capacity, or high scale you want to go for 60 up to 320 terabyte capacity. So it depends on the storage. You want to go for HDD or SSD. Best for general purpose workloads, lower cost, and best for performance critical workloads. When you're using it for saving data for backup, then you can go for HDD as well to save costs. Or if you're going to read and write a lot on this, then you can go for SSD. Allocate capacity 1 terabyte. Ouch, really? By default it is 1 terabyte. And I'll go for here US East 1, any zone, and or I'll go for US East 1A. Setup connections, VPC network is the default. Allocated IP range, use an automatically allocated IP. So yes, public IP, give it. Configure your file share. So there's your configure file share. Choice is permanent. Use lowercase letters, numbers, and underscores. Start with the letter. So it just says, okay, sales file share, right? Suppose I go for sales file share. Grant access to all clients on the VPC network. Okay, this is I'm working in the default VPC here, where there's a project, right? In fact, there are 3 projects there in that default VPC. So yes, it's grant access across the VPC here. And label, yeah, department this, manager this, so you know what to do with the labels. So this is a quick instance with a file share also showing here. I'm going to click that, create and 8. From the 8, I remember that, you know, I need to eat. Okay, so now the file store is going on. It's file store is getting created, and 1 terabyte capacity. Are you kidding me? Anyway, so once it is created, then we can go inside and check if the file share is available right away, because it asks us to create a file share. In the background, you can see it has given us 1 terabyte capacity and public IP, and I used basic HDD. This is the file share name here. So is it going to give us a UNC path? Is it going to give us that code, the commands that we need to run? So once it is created, you will see that. While this is going on, if I go to the transfer, this is just ongoing. Really? You kidding me? I don't want to refresh. Should I? No. Well, this is also thinking. Well, it's moving. It's like creating. Yeah, it's staying creating. Okay. Strange. Only I'm doing this. So we'll start then the network portion of this Google Cloud. So next week might be the, we can cover the VPC topic and the database topic here. So it's the IAM, compute, storage, network, and database. So these are the topics that we're covering for Google Cloud as well as Oracle Cloud. So we might be over with in next week or next. Oh, even this week we're going to cover the VPC, right? So once VPC is covered, then we'll go for databases. So one of the days of the next week we could start Oracle Cloud. Wow, seriously? Still creating, still transferring. You know, one of the reasons you would want to go for Azure and AWS, I'm sure now this is not Scarborough. So Madhava says, do we need to prepare for VPC lab? Prepare, we're going to create like this directly. Oh, no, VPC is all on the cloud. So it's going to be purely, we're going to create a VPC there, subnets, and all we can do is we can connect from our machine with the remote desktop. Even that is not needed because Windows machines are not required here, or not allowed here. So this means that we're going to connect directly to a Linux machine, right? So yeah, no hybrid, because hybrid is normally with Windows. Even with Windows, we went with browser-based access, so even that was not then needed in even Azure. It was not needed. So okay, guys. So file store is created. I'm gonna go inside this file store, and it says here NFS mount point network file system. So all the Linux gurus here would be interested in that, and used to mount this file share on a Linux client VM. Run the mount command with the following remote target on the VM's local directory. So this would be just to mount the file share, and that would be the remote command. If I click the learn more here, so mounting file shares on Compute Engine clients, this page shows how, and then mounting a file share on a Compute Engine VM instance. You go to that. Okay, you know what? I can't resist creating one, so well, that's the storage bucket, so I'll just create one more duplicate here and go to this navigation menu and go to Compute Engine. We spent a lot of time here already, and Compute Engine, what is a Compute Engine? And Compute Engine. So once we go to the Compute Engine, I'm in the VM instances, and I'll click create, and it's the your first name one. Okay, I'll just go for the default options there, and US East 1 South Carolina, and okay, and other availability zone. Oh man, that instance is in US East 1A, right? So that is in 1A. Hopefully across availability zone they let us communicate. They should. So general purpose E2 medium, you know, the default options, and Debian, GNU, Linux, that's the default one, and allow default access. Also, it's not actually, it's a UNC path, so it is going to be the TCP connection. It's not going to be HTTP connection, but for no particular reason, I'm just selecting both here. Not going to actually use that. Management, and then security, automation, nothing here. If I go to security, so disks, Google Manage, so it's the networking. So hostname, default, network interfaces. So nothing blocking here. If I go to security, that's it. Networking, tags instance1 default. Normally by default it is 000/0 is allowed, right? So all connections are allowed. I'm going to click create here that instance as well. So it's the Debian OS inside. So once this is created, I'm just going to log into this and try to follow these commands here. Linux mount, Linux /etc fstab, Linux autofs, Windows. So all these. Now look at the Linux VM you want to use as a client, then click SSH to open a terminal. Optional, mounting a file share on a client VM with multiple network interfaces through a secondary network. Now it's so Debian Ubuntu, they have already said that RHEL, CentOS, and SUSE. So on Debian Ubuntu, use the following commands to install NFS on Debian or Ubuntu. So sudo apt-get -y update and then sudo apt-get install NFS common. So that is to install the NFS network file system on that, and then make a local directory to map to the file store file share. Sudo mkdir is make directory and -p, and then the mount point directory, where mount point is the directory to create, for example, /mnt/file dir. So that would be the directory we create, and then sudo mount. So then there is mount the file share from the file store instance by running the mount command. You can use any NFS mount options. For the best performance, we recommend using the default NFS mount options. Default NFS mount options are this. If I expand that, so these are all the mount options here. And for reduced mounting latency, you should use the -o GCP. So this is a main mount command there, sudo mount and IP address and file share. So this is what they have already, what is already showing, IP address and file share, right? Oh, the instance is created. Okay, so well, that should be it. Okay, so I'll just reach till here and try to check if we can mount a share. So I'll go to the instance where it is created already, and I'll just log into that. If I go to SSH, open in browser window, connect and ting. So once it is connected, I'll just go and try to put those commands there in this, and that is this. So Debian and sudo apt-get yum update and end. Really? It's a sudo. I was correct on that. apt-get -y update and end. Okay. So it's set. So I'll Control C out of that. So seems like it didn't work. Really? It's trying to execute normally if there's no error, and maybe it's downloading in the background, although it shows the progress if it's downloading. So I don't think it's downloading. And and it also depends on if there was update. So suppose the first one was not needed, I'll go for the second one. Oh, there we go. Done. And do you want to continue? Yes. Yay, it's installing the NFS. So maybe it was already updated with the, that package. So that's why the second one would work then. And make a local directory to map to the file store, file share. Really? We need to make a directory? Can't we just put it on? Okay. Sudo mkdir minus p persistent and slash mnt slash just going for the example here, file dir. And then it's the mount command, so sudo mount and the file share here and the directory. So I'll go for I'm going for this one. So sudo mount and then I'll just go for that address here, copy, I'll put it on this. So this is how it looks like pretty much, and on top of this. Okay, I'll go back to the documentation, and then it shows the mount point as well, which is Z's, and that was /mnt slash file dir. So space the mount point dir. So space /mnt slash file dir. You can get the IP address and file blah blah blah, and then yeah, okay. So no news is good news. So this means it worked, and then there is okay. So I'll just put it here. And then, for example, a given file store instance with an IP address is this, and okay, still giving the example. Optional, run chmod to set permissions on the mount directory so that someone other than the root user cannot write to it. Yeah, we can set permissions. What else? Optional, confirm that file store file share is mounted. So yes, we need to confirm that as well. So I'll just go for df minus h minus type equals nfs. So it shows here, yes, file system size is 100, okay, 1007G, which is 1 terabyte used. So yes, that's the 1 terabyte size was of that NFS instance that we created, right? So it is successfully mounted. Congrats. The output should contain an entry. Yeah, it is exactly like that. All right. So and so creating and mounting subdirectories on the file share. So once your file share is mounted on a client VM, you can create subdirectories on the file share, which clients can then mount directly instead of mounting the entire file share. So you just want to now use it from this instance. This is the instance that is, we can say, production environment instance, and you can start creating files there inside this directory, and it will actually be saved inside that other instance, which is the file store instance, right? In Windows it was so easy to prove all that, but here we just need the documentation to follow. To create a subdirectory on the mounted file share, run this. So again, now the mount directory and file share subdirectory, it's just showing that. Then there is mount the directory. And so it's just saying that you can create, example is this, sudo mount and volume1/nfs/mnt mount. So it just goes on and on, but this document is really good. Copy that to the mounted file share, and mount file shares on clients in a remote network. So it keeps on going. So you want to create some subfolders here. That is also shown here, but oh, that's unmount, umount. If you want to mount the file share subdirectory to the directory on the client VM where the file share is currently mounted, you unmount the file share first. No, we don't want to mess this. And to create a subdirectory on the mounted file share, run this. So this is sudo mkdir, and okay, so that would be sudo mkdir -p and /mnt/ what was that, file dir, and then, oh, do we need to put a pipe sign here? Is it for, I don't think we have to put a pipe sign. It's just space, right? Did they put it intentionally? Oh, well, there's one way to find out. So, well, file share would be, suppose I go for your first name folder, and it gets created. So yes, the pipe sign was not necessary. And well, so you can we create a subfolder there as well. Then you can copy files there, and it should be stored in. If you put any files here in that file folder, they would be actually stored in that instance. Now, at least this much you can trust me, and it's gonna work that way. And good luck actually proving that by doing it yourself. But this document is amazing, and so I'll just put that here. How to create a file store, create a Linux file share. So this document would help you more if you want to try it yourself. Well, it's not if, you should try that yourself, but otherwise it's for your reference here, and what I did. And I'll just put that as reference there, and in WhatsApp as well. Okay, so replay and mounting file shares. So pretty straightforward task there, and if you're a Windows guru, you must become Linux guru. Make yourself do Linux as much as possible, as in-depth as possible. That is the survival strategy in the market. Windows, you've gone a lot. You must go in depth with Linux as well. This is pretty much scratching the surface what I'm doing, and in depth is you know, large scale Linux machines deployment and how they share files and create folders, give permissions, patch management, everything, right? So on CentOS basically, RHEL, because that's the one that is out there in the market a lot. Okay, so the file store is this. We create a file store as well in this project, and so that's you know, not much in storage because it's the third best Google Cloud provider. So not a lot of features, but in Azure and AWS we went for a lot of features there in storage. That's all here for storage, and what we can do is we can go for VPC now that we have this much time. I was planning to do that on another class set just for VPC, but we can start now and continue with the virtual private cloud as well. So when VPC is pretty much the same as VPC in AWS, it's just your private network, or VNet in Azure, just your private network, right? So if I go further down within this project and keep going down, 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 and then down, 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 and some more down until we reach VPC, yay! Okay. Well, there are some some other independent applications there as well, like monitoring and DNS, which we discussed in VPC in Azure and AWS. But normally it's the four major categories there that we are going to go for the rest of the two courses. So VPC network here, and that is where we can create virtual private cloud. Now I'm not doing anything, but this on my right side is it's just completely dancing, and not sure why it's doing this. So I'm just gonna refresh this here, and VPC loads up again, and now the scroll bar is okay. So there is that VPC networks, external IP addresses, firewall, routes, VPC network peering. Normally we do just we create a VPC and then we create VPC network peering as well. Shared VPCs is there, serverless VPC access, and packet mirroring. So these are some of the features, main features there. If we go for VPC networks, then there is a great VPC network. I'm gonna so first of all, you can see that US Central 1 region, subnets, and MTU is there, maximum transmission unit, IP address ranges, gateways, firewall rules, global dynamic routing, flow logs. So this is a basic report of all the regions that are available. So I'm just going to go for create VPC network here, and when it comes to name, so your first name dash VPC and 1, okay, and control A, control C, description, subnets, it's custom subnets let you create your own private cloud topology within Google Cloud. Click automatic to create a subnet in each region, or click custom to manually define the subnets. So suppose we go for subnet creation mode, and there's custom here, so it's just asking what should be your subnet name. So if we go for subnet 1 here, which region you want to create that, I'll stick to US East 1. And then IP address range. Now that could be whatever range we give there. So suppose it's 10.0.0.0. Does it accept that, or shall I go for /16? Normally we give for the whole VPC this much range. Yeah, so we're good. And create a secondary IP range. If you want to give that, we'll stick to this. Private Google access. So this is just set whether VMs in this subnet can access Google services without assigning external IP address. You want storage service to access the virtual machine here inside this VPC, and then that is possible with just the private IP addresses and not the public IP addresses. And then there is flow logs if you want to go for it. I think they're going to charge you as well. So stack driver is going to generate log files there. Now there is one subnet here that I have defined, and it is just allowing me to create one subnet by default, and then later we can create other subnets as well. So this is it, just the VPC name, the custom subnet here, and IP range here, the region that we defined. That's it. And if we go further down, there is that add subnet. So yes, just like Azure and just like AWS, we can create extra subnets here as well. Dynamic routing, regional or global. So cloud routers will learn routes only in the region in which they were created. Or global routing lets you dynamically learn routes to and from all regions with a single VPN or interconnect and cloud router. So you want to connect globally to other regions with your VPC. We'll stick to regional for now. Enable DNS API to pick up a DNS policy. Yes. Okay, so click enable here, and DNS should be working fine. But it could be that this is talking about, it's not could be, it's highly available DNS. So normally we do not need highly available DNS, obviously, when we have like a small network there. And this is comparable to the Route 53 in AWS, which is a separate specific DNS service for very large traffic, and which is Azure DNS there in Azure. That is Cloud DNS here. So we don't need that kind of large scale DNS service here. So I'm just going to click back here and choose not to enable that right now because we don't have any large traffic expected. And maximum transmission unit, or how the packets size should be, we're going to keep it to 1460, and then click there's a CRE and then 8 button. So I'm just going to go for CRE and 8. So there's a default written here. If I just drag it up, so the default VPC in which we are working, and then the custom VPC that we are and 8ing now. Once it is created, and it seems like it is, so I'll just collapse the other one. So this is the VPC that we have. I'm just going to click on top of that VPC here, and it is saying region, subnet 1, and IP address range is this, gateway is this, firewall rules no, dynamic routing no. So I'm going to click on top of that VPC here, and that's it. So once we're inside, so you can see a quite boring interface here. Okay, so anyway, it's not about boring here. So DNS, yes, again, if you want to have a lot of traffic. And then can we use default VPC IP range? Chintan's asking. Default VPC IP range where we are working inside is, I think, 172 something. So all the private IP ranges, all three private IP ranges we can use here, yes. So 172.16, 10.0.0, and 192.168. So I just went for 10. Yeah.
The one like after we create VPC, we can see 10.128, 132. That is the one I'm talking.
Oh, that's
custom
128. It starts from, like, those are public ranges, right?
Yeah. So like when we create VPC network, there is a default and custom. We selected custom, right? So on default, I can see the IP range is like, something 10.128 like
so
that. So
it starts from 10. Okay. Yeah, within that, yes, you're right. So definitely it's a private network. So 10 dot, it doesn't have to be 0 exactly. It could be any other octets, can be changed to anything else as long as it's 10.
So my question is that we can use that range, like say we can use like 10.128, or just we have to use 10. Other than that,
normally it is this. It is normally this is allowed, but yes, I have to check that too. In fact, if you're creating, you can check that, because if it lets you put that IP, then it is. Otherwise, I am not sure as well. Okay. So here, well, if you're creating, then you can just test it that 10.128. If you can change the octet. Normally,
my question is go back. You see here default?
Yeah, this one.
What is the range? Yes. So we can use this or not?
No, not these. So definitely.
Yeah, because these are
these are, if they're already applied, definitely we can't use them. But 127 after 128 or before 128. So yeah, other than that. But so this is okay. Now I understand what you're saying. Okay. So yep, these are already defined by the system. Other than that, yes. So let's go ahead and once we go inside here, then we can go inside. So there are subnets and static internal IP addresses, and yes, those are just based on the region. Map says that. So that's why we would not be able to use exactly those, but other than those, we can to create our own regions or VPCs. So here, subnet 1, and gateway is this. So static internal IP addresses, firewall rules, routes, and then VPC network peering and private service connection. So if I go for add subnet, I'll just go for another subnet here, and we can create subnet 2 as well. And within subnet 2, well, it's Asia East, so I'm just going to go for US East 1 here as well. And okay, kids in the room. Kids in the room alert. Whoop, whoop. Okay, so here US East 1 and reserved for internal HTTPS load balancing. Well, so if you want to have the traffic reserved with HTTPS, then you can turn it on. Otherwise, HTTP traffic will be also allowed. IP address range here. So now you can see that this. Oh, I cannot drag this. No. So there was that subnet 1, and the first subnet was 10.0.0/24. It's supposed to be. In fact, let me cancel out from here and check that. I'm going to click inside the subnet first of all, and the IP range here is also actually no, that's for VPC, right? And I'm inside subnet details, and it is normally we see that in others that it's /24 that is given, but here it took the whole /16, which was supposed to be for VPC as far as I'm concerned. I think about it. I'm going to click that edit for the subnet details just to confirm again that for VPC it is /16, but for the subnet we could go for changing that range. So subnetwork IP ranges must be unique and non-overlapping within a VPC, obviously. The following ranges are currently being used in other regions. None. Okay. So here, if I want to change that to 24, thinking that I'm changing that for the subnet, and I don't want huge /16 range there, so I'll click save, and it says here, make sure that all fields are correct. So it says no IP CIDR range should be a superset of the current IP CIDR range. So okay, this is the subnet, although it shows in subnet, but we have already given it to the VPC, so I'm not able to change that. I'll go for the second subnet. So if I go out there and see this, this is subnets, and this is the VPC one. So it's just showing that this subnet is also having this range. I'm just going to go for 10.0.0.1.0 for the second subnet, but I'm going to go for /24 and try to check if it lets me. Obviously it should. So, but the first one is I'm not able to give /24 there. It took the range that was actually meant for the VPC. So I've gone for US East 1. Other than that, everything else is okay. Well, this 10.0.1.0/24. Oh yes, so it also says this operator's range overlaps with the subset. So second subnet we can give /17. So Bilal says we should be able to use the same principle as Azure VNet has. Its default subnet and other internal subnets must be child subnets of it. Yes, you're right. So this means that we can go for if we go for /, I don't think it would be this, but I'm not able to even change the second octet here. So yeah, that's what exactly I was planning to, or in fact I'm just trying to put here, and 10.0.1.0/24 for the second subnet. And it says here the address range of this subnet insider notation uses standard VPC network address range, for example 10.0.0.9. Suppose I go for 1 and I'll stick to, not 26, 16, right? And yes, okay, first we need to remove the first one. Oh, 00/24. You know, this is kind of not very straightforward. I'm just trying every number now. What? So Azure and AWS are pretty straightforward when we go there, and as far as last year is concerned, when I created the VPC, it was fine.
Here is
Yeah?
16. First we give it is our network, right? Subnet. 6/16 is our subnet. So whatever we have, like the other subnet should be inside that, right?
Yes. So it will be 10.0.0.1, 10.0.1.0 slash, and within that, so that should be
Yes.
/24.
Yes, that should be working. Like we did same on Azure, same way.
But it's not working for me. So if I go inside this, and I'll click the VPC level edit, regional, and those are policy, add subnet, and I'll click that add subnet now. So the first subnet IP is the IP that we gave for VPC is actually the IP of the first subnet. So I'm just gonna go for, there's one more thing here. I'll just let it go ahead. I'm just gonna create one more VPC here because I tried all the combinations. It was named VPC2 and Control C, Control V. So if I go automatic here, right? So these IP addresses ranges will be assigned to each region in your VPC. When an instance is created for your VPC network, it will be assigned an IP address from the appropriate region's address range. So this region, East US, yeah, these are the regions where I don't intend to create anything. And firewall rules are also allowing everything. So if I put automatic here, which I don't want to put actually, then it's okay. So this if I go custom, it's not allowing me to create just for VPC an IP range. It says that just directly give an IP range to the subnet, right? And that's new from last year as well for me as well. That subnet 1, suppose I create, that's the default subnet, and what it is expecting, name must start, okay, it's not name I'm concerned about. So region, and then we go for, seriously, that is supposed to be the easiest thing we're stuck in. Okay, so subnet name is already in use, I'll go for, and that was in VPC 1. VPC 2 is not allowing me to use the subnet name. The naming convention has to be unique. Subnet 3 here, and US East 1 IP range. So here it says the address range for the subnet inside our nation, use a standard private VPC network address range, for example 10.0.0/9, right? So 10.0.0.0, normally that's how we can go ahead. We have been going ahead. Create a secondary IP address range, which I don't want to, but I just want to change the subnet, right? And if I go further down, it's regional, and that's it. So that's pretty. If you see the interface, we've given a VPC name, subnet name here. So suppose subnet 1-VPC2, and this is the range we gave, right? If I go for create secondary range, so subnet range name, subnet may have secondary side notation from which secondary IP ranges of a VM be allocated. I don't want to give secondary IP range, right? So I'm just going to remove that. And I'll just create that now. Make sure all fields are correct. Okay, what did I do now? Oh. Wow. Subnet 3. I'll go for subnet 3. Region. East US 1. Maybe it's not allowing me to do that too. No, so Milab is supposed to be 1.0/24, right? But it's not taking that too. Then I just went for this. Otherwise, definitely doesn't make sense to go for 1.0/16 when it was not allowing me to do anything else. Otherwise, yes, you're right. So 10 dot. So I gave one VPC already this range. I'm creating another VPC. It's not letting me give this range. So I'm just gonna go for this VPC as a totally separate range now. How about 10.2.2.0.0 10.2.0.0/16, so it's okay. And yep, so 10.2.0.0/16, and private Google access off, flow logs off, and one subnet 1 VPC2 is there, and that is the subnet range actually, and VPC itself does not need any range, right? So if I go ahead and create a subnet now here, instead of creating a VPC and then creating a subnet, I'll just go ahead and create a second subnet here, right? So the first subnet is already subnet 1 VPC2. I'll go for subnet 2-VPC2, and I'll go for the same region, and the range that I need to give 10.2.0.0. So the first one is /16, and 10.0.2.0.0 should be /24, right? And it says that okay, /24 is okay, and the above one so 200/16, and the second subnet is now accepting. If I go for, I actually created 3 subnets here. Subnet 2, I'll remove that. So subnet 3 is 200/16, and I'll go down to and done. So 3 has this, and subnet 200/24. Okay, so they made it quite different from Azure and AWS, maybe just to be different from them, but should kind of make sense as well. So 2 subnets I'm able to create. One is 10.0.0/16, and the other one is 10. Okay, well, sorry, it was the other above one. Now the one that is getting created, it is 10.2.0.0/16 and 10.2.0.0/24. So that's how they are getting created. Then I'm able to create 2 subnets, and then I can go for third subnet 10.2.1.0/24. I should be able to do that then, and 10.2.2.0/24. Then I should be able to. Okay, yes, I agree with that. In fact, whoa, it's so last year I was able to create exactly like Azure and AWS. I was doing that. So here it says I'm not able to do this. So okay, I think it's not even giving errors. So when you're trying Chintan also, it's yeah, 10.0.0/16 and 10.0.1/24 should work. It's
Yeah, not working, but that's something, I don't know. Same thing, like same error you are getting.
so it's not abiding by the international rules of TCP/IP. So right now, maybe VPC service itself is kind of not up to the standard. So if I go to the first VPC, and I did create there 10.0.0/16 as the first subnet, and 10.0 1.0/24, it did not let us create that. So that's really, really weird. Really weird. And what we were doing as we took as granted in Azure and AWS. This is a full challenge here. So I went for those other ranges, and it's like saying invalid IPC in 10.200/24 conflicts with existing subnetwork subnet 3 in region US East 1, where I put 10.00/16. That's what I put there, and it's saying that 10.200/24 is in conflict with that. So okay, I'll dismiss that. You know what, let me, guys, I'll be testing on this. I'll delete that VPC here, and I think Google is not performing very well today, because if I go to the transfer is still starting. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna refresh that now, and so this is what it was showing, that it has failed. And file 00, synchronization method, override objects at destination, permission denied. Okay, I gave full permission to that, and it says server failed to authenticate the request. Make sure the value of authorization header is formed correctly, including the signature requested. So somehow Google is not really well, obviously this has to be all troubleshooted as well, but in the end this is also the result. So guys, I will be testing this VPC for the next class and checking it out, because totally basics are not working here, and then the permission that I gave according to the error, it's saying even that is denied. So could be something with the Google services in US East 1, but it's not really showing that. In fact, I should go for health here. Maybe there are some outages there, which is Google Maps platform. So that is among, well, I have to check that where exactly it will show that if there are any outages. So if the basic things are not working, and you've checked on your side, I've checked on my side, that's pretty strange. So it really needs to do better if it needs to compete in the market, and if we are unable to do basic things, that's not good.
So when we delete VPC right now, it is not good. Like, we cannot assign the same IP address again after deleting everything. It is like saving somewhere, like all this
Yes. So
information.
it's in the project, it's saving this. And second thing is even the subnet 1 in VPC 1 and subnet 2, subnet 1 we cannot use in VPC 2. Suppose I create VPC 2 there, so it's just detecting that within the whole platform we can't have same names even in different VPCs. So that's it's working is totally different, and they have made some lot of changes from the last year as well. So I need to really check it and test it all out with errors, try to remove, and then we'll try to meet guys on Friday, and for now we can just try to delete the project, and I'll try to test first what's going on. So I'll go to the cloud platform, and we need to delete this project for today, and I'll go ahead and go to the dashboard. I'll dismiss this Slack. Okay, so I'm in that project now, and I'm gonna go down to this project that we created today on 16 December. Yes, this is 16 December project. I'll go to project settings. Seriously, again today it's not gonna work for me. Okay, I'll go to this, I'll connect this project, I'll click on this project, I'll go inside and go to project settings now, and now it goes, and then we can go for, oh, okay, project settings, right, good. Okay, so acting weird today, really weird. So I'll click that project setting. Am I doing everything right? It should go to project setting. And guys, are you able to delete your projects or shut down your projects? If you were. Okay guys, so I'll just figure out that how to delete the project again, because it's not working where it's supposed to work. I'll click this and manage resources. But if you want to, so this is it for today. If you want to leave, you can. Okay, now it goes. I'll select that and delete. Normally we were supposed to shut down. No, it was pending deletion. Okay, I'll go for the other project that I created. We're gonna start with VPC, but I'll do a lot of testing first. Okay guys, so see you this Friday. I'll close the video.